venait de conclure 8 années en hommage à Michel Petrucciani. C'était une aventure humaine qui a été très intense. J'étais vraiment lessivé par ce piano solo. J'avais un blocage qui a duré plus d'1 an et demi. Et là, c'est arrivé comme ça, vraiment. J'ai fait ça. Et tout est parti d'un coup. Et là, il y a eu une fusion.
Good evening, and welcome along to the last episode of Rob and Elliott tonight in this current series. But don't worry, we will be back on a different platform and on a different TV channel sometime very soon. So do keep an eye on my social media pages to find out more. So who's coming up on the final show in the series? Well, we'll be chatting to singer-songwriter Paul McVeigh about his brand new project where he's celebrating the music of music legend Chris Rea.
When I was on tour with Chris, you still had to kind of pinch yourself a bit, like, because I grew up such a big fan.
We'll be meeting the cast of Lockdown DLA, who are returning to the Mac this June.
I will come off bedecked in jewellery and go, horse, do me. This is our ritual in the dressing room after every show.
Paul McVeigh will be telling us about a show that he's bringing to the Cathedral Quarter Arts Festival.
And it's for one night only as well, so there's only one chance to see this this very special, unique event. So I hope everyone will come along.
We'll be finding out about this year's Festival of Fools with Emmen, Jude, Donnelly.
It's not in the round in a circus tent. It's not in a contemporary way, front-facing in a theatre, the way that you would watch ballet or anything like that. It's much more immersive, much more like watching a music band on stage.
It really is festival time because we're going to find out some of the highlights of this year's Ballyscullion Park Book Festival.
Well, if you would take a pin and put it right in the very, very, very middle of Northern Ireland, you'd probably hit Ballyscullion Park. We're just a mile outside Ballaghy, which is, of course, famous for Rea-Magined. So we're very central. We're about just over half an hour away from Belfast and about 45-50 minutes from Derry.
But as always, let's begin by taking a look back at some of the big news stories of the week. And to help us do it, I'm pleased to say we're joined by broadcaster and journalist Kim Kelly. And here's what happened when I caught up with Kim earlier today. Okay, let's take a look now at some of the more quirky news stories of the week. We're talking animals. A big animal theme this week, isn't it, Kim
There
Kelly?
is, yes, because it's Good Friday. It's Good Friday, and which means it's the Easter weekend.
It is.
So it's time to go out with your lovely children and grandchildren for a day trip.
Oh.
Don't we all love it? Load them into the car in that lovely rain.
Isn't it great that we
soggy
don't have
sandwiches?
young kids
I know,
anymore?
I'm so glad.
Oh.
Do you remember whenever you had to do it? But a lot of people watching will have grandchildren they'll be doing this with.
Yes.
So it's nice to know that just because you're rich and famous, this still happens. So I saw this wonderful video of Boris Johnson. It was on his wife's Instagram account. They were out for the day in the safari park, not the one here, obviously not. That's closed now. So there they were. She was driving and he's sitting in the front seat with the child on his knee. Nobody had a seatbelt on, of course, but sure, it's Boris Johnson, you know. And an ostrich attacks him through the window. So we can play it now, probably.
Yes, let's have a look at this.
Let's
because,
play.
yeah, this is so good.
You're thinking very aggressive.
Even the ostriches don't like him.
Or do they like him? Do they just want to get close to him?
I don't
Do
know.
they just want to get close to him? But doesn't it bring back those memories of sitting in the car?
I remember years ago going to Longleat Safari Park.
I've been there.
Yeah, that was dangerous.
Yes.
And I think they've stopped them now. But the
monkeys.
yes.
The monkeys,
used to
yeah,
attack
they've stopped
the car.
that. Yeah, they've
I
stopped
remember
that.
we used to have the aerials for the radios in the
Yeah,
car.
that's
Used
right.
to pull the aerials off the car and pull the wing mirrors off the car. And
Those were the days. Now, if you don't want to do that, but you still like the animals, you could go and see the capybaras. Now, we do have capybaras here in Belfast. I assume they have them in Dublin Zoo. What they are is they're giant rats. They're,
Oh, no.
They're rats about this size. So they're rats about the size of your upper body. But they are the animal of the moment. Don't ask me why, but you know there's certain... Right, so apparently there's a cafe that's opened up in Florida where you can go and play with capybaras.
Oh, no.
So it costs you $49 for a half-hour capybara experience. You go and sit down, and they bring a towel and put it over your knee because I think they're a bit dirty, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And then the capybaras jump up on your knee,
Oh, no.
and apparently they feel like straw, and you can play with them, and that's it.
We could do this in Belfast City Centre. We just open the sewers.
Open the sewers.
And let the rats into the cafe so you can sit and hold a rat.
You do see the odd rat now,
You
you
do,
do, but then
don't
you
you?
can't really tell what's real and what's AI.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
People keep posting up videos on AI of like dogs melting and stuff, and you're like, oh, stop it. That's horrible.
Have you AI'd yourself yet? Have you done the doll thing?
No,
the doll
but
in the box
no,
thing?
but I did the AI of what my dog would look like if it was a person.
Right, okay.
She wasn't as good looking as I thought she'd be.
Yeah.
I thought she'd be better looking. That's quite good. So yeah, AI your dog.
Yeah.
Say, this is a picture of my dog. She's got a feisty personality. And they'll ask you a few questions about what your dog's like.
Yes, yeah.
Mine was smoking.
Hey, but have you seen Mia singing?
Oh,
I had Mia singing with AI as well. So
get her AI'd. Get her AI'd and you'll see what she's like.
There we go.
And we'll finish off now with a lovely story about a tortoise that found its way home. Now, if you know me from social media, I love a tortoise. If I go to anybody's house and they have a tortoise, I'm like, can I play with it? But I do really want one, but I can't commit to 120 years or whatever lifespan they have.
They live longer.
They live forever. Yeah. So in Mississippi recently, there was massive big storms, and a house fell apart. So they went back to their house, and the house was kind of gone, and their tortoise was gone. But they found it 2 weeks later. Its shell was broken, but it came back. But now they've got another 60 years left of the tortoise, because the tortoise was only 60. I do wonder, like, if you buy one, you've got to be prepared. You know, you can't, like, I'm 51 years old now, so I would have to say to my son, I'm buying a tortoise. Yeah. Will you have it whenever I die?
You have to put it in your will.
Yeah, because you can't just leave it to chance. But I do really want one. No? Do you not like?
I don't do much. They're very slow. They just sit and munch lettuce all day.
They do it. They've got lovely eyes, and I don't know. I think they're nice. I would like one. That or a capybara.
No, a rat in your house?
I have plenty of rats in my house. Boom.
Bah, we know that. Would Delilah would go mad with a rat?
She would. She would. Yeah, we did once have a rat in front of our house. A rat came to die in front of my house one day. I remember the things that happen, because I live in the sort of inner city, and I was sitting outside, you know, and I had a bit of a hangover, and all of a sudden this rat sort of limped across, and it was all like bleeding, and it was like, really? Really? Does this have to happen to me now?
Did you go to help it?
I did not. It limped, it was dragging itself across, bleeding all over the place, and I thought, that's Belfast.
Well, there we go.
Welcome to Belfast.
Yeah, welcome to Belfast. On that happy note, I was going to say we'll see you next week. We won't.
No, that's it.
It's the last one in the series.
This is the last one in the series.
But we'll see you on the next series, because the good news is we are coming back.
Yes.
On a different platform. Who knows where? Keep an eye, and we'll see you soon. Right, time for some music on the show, and Anthony Toner is back with a brand new show as part of this year's Cathedral Quarter Arts Festival. So here's Anthony now performing live in the NVTV studios with his big hit, Sailor Town.
Me and Elaine, we've been hanging around in what was once Sailor Town, drinking cheap red wine by the light of the Belfast moon. There's nobody left here that works at the docks. It's all urban renewal and apartment blocks. Summer is fading, winter will be coming soon. The walls in the city have a lot to say about the UVF and the IRA. It's cold by the river, but the sky is full of stars. But these walls say nothing about who I am when I'm singing in the garden at the Rotterdam, doing Brown-Eyed Girl and whiskey in the jar. And I know they're tearing it down street by street. Look out below, there goes the ground beneath your feet. Elaine's mother thinks I'm some kind of crook. She meets me at the door with a dirty look. My welcome run there starting to wear thin. 'Cause I promised everybody I would knuckle down, but my grades weren't good enough this time round. All my time runs out in the end. And I know they're tearing it down street by street. Look out below, there goes the ground beneath your feet. Me, I can't wait to be rid of school, but Elaine's got a place at Liverpool. By the time September comes, she'll be gone. And she says she'll text me every day, but that's something she feels she has to say. She'll call me once at Christmas, then move on. Me and Elaine, we've been hanging around in what was once Sailor Town.
Okay, we're talking festivals next, and the Ballyscullion Park Book Festival, which is taking place on the 10th and the 11th of May. To tell us what's happening this year, Rosalind Mulholland joins us in the studio. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Last year I had the pleasure of visiting your wonderful home, which is the setting for this festival, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's we have a beautiful walled garden, and we actually have a wedding venue, so we have lots of lovely spaces which are just perfect for a book festival, really, for speakers to speak in, and also to have stalls and other events going on too.
Now, I would imagine there's some people watching this is going to say, where is Ballyscullion Park? Whereabouts in the world is this place?
Well, if you would take a pin and put it right in the very, very, very middle of Northern Ireland, you'd probably hit Ballyscullion Park. We're just a mile outside Ballyscullion, which is, of course, famous for Seamus Heaney. Yeah. So we're very central. We're about just over half an hour away from Belfast and about 50 minutes from Derry.
Brilliant. So every year you've been doing this festival, you have a mixture of international guests coming, and then you support a lot of local artists as well, don't you?
We do, yes. We're very keen to have a big range of speakers. Actually, we haven't been doing it very long. This is only our second one.
Oh,
so
really?
Yes,
oh, wow.
Yes, so we're very new.
Yeah.
Last year was terrific. It was great fun. Everybody enjoyed it enormously, and we were blessed with fantastic weather. So we're keeping our fingers crossed again for this year. But yes, so we've widened the sort of catchment. We've got many more international speakers this time. Still mostly Ireland-based, north and south, and England as well. But yeah, we have an Iranian speaker. We have more sort of topical issues being discussed as well as books and music.
Yeah. So talk us through some of the people coming. Martina Devlin's coming.
Yes, Martina is coming to talk about her new book, Charlotte. Most of our speakers will do 2 sessions, so one on each day on a different subject. So she's talking about Charlotte, but she's also talking about the challenges of writing about historical characters as fiction.
Yeah.
So she'll be discussing that with Lindsay Spence, who is a biographer, so we'll have both angles on that. And Kathy Clugston is moderating that particular talk. Yeah, Martina's great. We saw her talk at the Seamus Heaney home place a couple of days ago, and she was fantastic.
Brilliant. Now, as well as that, you've gone to the 2023 Sky Portrait Artist of the Decade, Gareth Reid.
Yes. So Gareth famously won for his painting of Graham Norton, which was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And he's going to be taking questions and answers from the audience about the whole business of portrait painting. He recently also painted the King, so he's very, very active and very well thought of.
Now, last year when I was up at the house, I met Dr. Sophia Hillen. She'll also be back again, and she does a lot of historical writing, doesn't she?
She does. So the book she was talking about last year was about Jane Austen's nieces who lived and died in Donegal.
Yeah.
This year she'll be talking more about Jane Austen herself, because of course it's the 250th anniversary of her birth.
Yeah. Excellent. So who else? Any other highlights that we should know
Yes,
about
well,
then?
we're delighted to have Louis de Bernière, who famously the writer of Captain Corelli's Mandolin, as well as many other novels and poetry as well. So he'll be discussing his new novel. And he'll also be taking part in panel discussions as well. So yeah, he'll be fantastic. Carlo Gabler is coming again this year. He was very supportive last year, and he'll be talking about, again, taking questions from the audience about his mother, Edna O'Brien, who sadly died last year.
Of course, yes.
So that'll be very interesting for the audience. We have we have several historians as well. So we've got Roy Foster, who's a great expert on Seamus Heaney and Yeats, and but also on he knows everything about everything, so he'll be talking about other things too. So a great range. We have the Hearty String Quartet.
I saw them live last year. They were brilliant.
They were great, yes. And also Rock Choir, which is the world's largest contemporary choir. So they'll be singing in the garden at different points during the day. This year as well, we're introducing a children's programme on the Sunday afternoon. So from 12 through to the end of the evening, there'll be lots of different children's events.
Brilliant. Now you're also supporting charity as well, the Northern Ireland Hospice?
Yes, indeed, yes. So, such a good cause. We're raising money for the paediatric wing of the Northern Ireland Hospice. As we know, hospices are very, very short of funds at the moment, and so much of it depends on fundraising. So we're giving them what help we can, and we have somebody coming from the hospice to talk about the work they do.
So the festival runs down from the 10th to the 11th of May. If people want to book their tickets, how do they do that?
Best thing is to go to the website, ballyscullionpark.com. It's quite a sort of immersive experience. So the ticket, you can either get a day ticket for the Saturday or the Sunday or for the whole weekend. Come, spend the day in the garden, soak it all up.
You can have a wee glass of wine or two as well.
Have a wee glass of wine or two, have a picnic. There are lots of food vans and also other artisan craft fair as well, so there'll be lots for everyone.
Excellent. Well, it sounds amazing. I was there last year for the launch, and it really is a truly amazing venue. So the best of luck with this year's festival.
Thank you very much, Robin.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you. Okay, it's only that time of year again when the Festival of Fools comes to Belfast. Now, over the years, we've had many circus performers on the show, but I don't think we've ever had an aerial acrobatist. It is aerial acrobatist, that's how you say it, isn't it? Yeah. Until now, we've got Emmen, Jude, Donnelly with us in the studio. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much for having
me. So first of all, tell us, how does somebody become an aerial acrobat type person then?
One might say it's like becoming any circus performer. It's usually just by chance.
Yeah.
You end up seeing someone, or you're pushed forward by some sort of pushy coach that realizes that you're maybe a bit stronger and a bit more flexible than other people.
Yeah.
Or else you're just one of those very bohemian children that there's a place for.
And are there many people in this country doing what you do then?
Yeah, there's quite a lot, and I actually work primarily as a choreographer and mentor with a lot of them that are sort of coming through the ranks to become full-time aerial acrobats. Yeah,
right, okay.
There's quite a lot. There's even aerial dance festivals, and even like Festival of Fools and stuff will program aerial acrobatics a lot. You can even go to weekly classes in aerial acrobatics locally. So yeah, it is quite a popular thing. Burgeons on sometimes like fitness industry, but I think it's firmly rooted with at least 1.5 feet in the arts industry.
Yeah, but not an easy thing to do. And as you were saying, you were rehearsing before you came down here as well. So.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that sometimes shocks people, is that you spend about 5 to 6 days of your life in a week, in the gym. Not necessarily lifting weights facing a mirror, but you are dangling between 6 and 10 meters in the air and working on what it is that you do. I think because there's such a high risk factor to it that every move has to be a small calculated risk, and it also has to look beautiful.
Exactly.
Whatever one may see as beautiful.
You ever had any scary moments?
Oh gosh, yeah. My goodness, yes. I was in a music video once, and thankfully it was only about 2 meters off the floor, and I fell and hit my head off the floor. Nothing happened.
Right,
I once fell from 10 meters in the air onto my head and had to bounce back up and just get on with it. And I've been fortunate, and I would never glamorize falling in any way, shape or form, but these things can happen, but you work hard to make them not happen.
Yeah, so we've got the Festival for Fools coming up as well. You've got a show happening. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've been really lucky to be supported by both Festival of Fools and the Cathedral Quarter Arts Festival with a show called VARC, which stands for Visual Audio Radical Circus, which creates a little window into the modern makers of Irish contemporary circus. It's a rewilding of the traditions of circus, so there's jugglers and acrobats and aerialists and all sorts of stuff. But it's done in a format that's not maybe what people have seen before. It's not in the round in a circus tent. It's not in a contemporary way, front-facing in a theatre, the way that you would watch ballet or anything like that. It's much more immersive, much more like watching a music band on stage. And both festivals have been hugely supportive of these slightly avant-garde and provocative ways of presenting circus.
So when can we see this then?
It's on the 7th and 8th of May in the evening time in the Circusville building, which is a building that was specially designed and developed to house circus on a regular basis. And I see it as my job to sort of rewild that building and turn it into something that even people who go to it on a weekly basis probably won't recognise it.
Wow, so do we have many circus performers then in Belfast at the moment?
Yes, quite a lot. One would dare say hundreds of us. We're usually people who run the gauntlet from someone who does it part-time, someone who does it as a hobbyist, there's people who come to classes, all the way through to semi-professional or people like myself who do it every day of our lives.
So it can be done, it can become a full-time occupation then.
It can indeed, yes, and it's even a family thing. I've got friends whose husband, wife and children all do circus in a very modern context and even travel with traditional circuses as well. My own husband is a programmer for a circus company as well, so yeah, everybody and anybody can do it. You just have to be daring enough to make sure that you can do it every day of your life.
So once you finish with this performance then, what's next for you?
A holiday would be an absolutely wonderful thing, but once I finish with VARC, I'm going to Spain, or Portugal actually. I'm going to Lisbon for a big international silks meeting. Silks are the things that people usually see aerialists dangling from, the fabric in the air. And there's up to 40 people coming from around the world to central Lisbon to partake in like a massive festival where you get taught, and I'm one of the artists that's been flown over to teach at it for 2 days. Brilliant. So that's the next big thing, which is very different than VARC, very different than being on stage. A lot more managing of people and dangling bodies in the air, but I absolutely love it.
Well, if people want to get their tickets then for VARC, how do they do that?
You can go to thefestivalfools.com and you can just see us there. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, good to meet you, and
to meet you.
The best of luck with the show.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, it's only that time of year again for the Cathedral Quarter Arts Festival. There's loads going on, we know, because we had Sean Kelly on the show last week. But we're going to hear about a specific event now from writer Paul McVeigh. Paul, it's been a while, but welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Yes,
to the studio. This is something a little bit special, a little bit different, isn't it?
Yes, I'm very excited. So I'd been commissioned by BBC Radio 4, BBC Radio Ulster, in fact, were the ones that commissioned me, and then it went on to Radio 4 all around the UK. Stories that there were 3 individual stories and then a 10-part series called The Circus. And this event for the Cathedral Quarter Arts Festival is something I've never quite done before. 3 of the actors who read the stories on radio are going to perform them live. They're going to read them out live, and I'm going to talk a little bit in between about what the story was about or what the inspiration was. So it's a wee bit of a mixture of they're 3 obviously theatre actors and TV actors. So it's a wee bit of a mixture of theatre, a bit of a mixture of live literature, and I'm quite excited for it.
And a great cast as well. Abby McGibbon's in it, who we saw recently on Blue Lights on
Absolutely,
TV.
and I think she's recording right now, isn't she, for the new season? I think, and then Michael Condren.
Yes,
and Tony Flynn, who I've worked with before. And so the 3 of them together, I mean, it's an amazing cast, so I'm very lucky to be able to get them all together. And it's for one night only as well, so there's only one chance to see this this very special, unique event. So I hope everyone will come along.
That's the 5th of May, isn't it?
5th of May, May the 5th, yes, in the evening in the Deer's Heads, upstairs in there, which is quite nice. So you can quite nice access to all their lovely beers, which is
It's always good, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So tell us about that collection of stories then. Because
the collection's called I Hear You, and I called it that because they're all stories that were written for the radio, so it's all about hearing and listening, and also because I think short stories are like little acts of empathy. you know,
Yes, yeah.
for like characters, and particularly in these for the radio, they're often the first person, so it's a character telling you a story. So it's a bit like saying, I hear you, I get you, I understand. So, and I understand, you know, these characters sort of thing. And so there's 3 one-off stories. One's called Tickles, which ended up being repeated for Mother's Day.
Right. Yes.
And then had a little afterlife again. That when it was on the radio for Mother's Day, that a vicar in England ended up using it as his sermon for Easter, which is quite interesting.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a story called Cuckoo, and then there's a story called Daddy Christmas, which I had the honour of that going out on Christmas Day at noon.
Brilliant,
yeah, all around the UK. And then, of course, I had people from all over the world hear it, and I had lovely letters and emails and messages online about that story, you know, a Christmas Day story. And then I got asked by BBC Radio Ulster, were commissioned me to do a 10-part series called The Circus. Right. And I wrote that. It's set at Cliftonville Circus in North Belfast. Right. Yeah. And of course, there's, you know, being a circus, there's 5 roads off that. Yeah. So the idea is that, you know, as I sort of pitched it to them, you know, it's going to be set on, you know, with characters from all of those roads that are that lead to different people with different nationalities, people, different religions, people, and then this idea that different class, you know. And I really wanted to, you know, I think North Belfast is arguably, you know, the last area of Belfast to be sort of gentrified.
Yeah, I think you're right, yes.
You know, when you think of it like that, and I think, you know, and also it's traditionally one of the most kind of, you know, contentious areas. Yeah. So it hasn't had a lot of investment, let's say. So what you have is an area on the cusp of transforming, you know, and there are some pubs, old pubs that were sectarian, run by kind of, you know, organizations that we will not say, and now have been taken over. I think one of them has been taken over by a gay couple, and has, you know, quiz nights and comedy nights, and it's completely changed, you know, and it's about that kind of how they were received, and how this was received by the community. This drastic and dramatic change of not only what they were putting on, but who they were asking to come to drink there. Yeah,
brilliant. So you're always keeping busy. Last time we spoke to you, you were doing your writers' retreat in the Harrison Hotel, which was a big success this year, wasn't it?
Huge. I mean, you know, the Harrison is stunning, beautiful. Melanie Harrison is one of the probably most generous people I've ever met, and you know, we had 3 people stay there this year. The first year there was 1 person stayed and 1 person had online. This year we had 3 people stay. Yeah. And the success of those people who got chosen, I mean, one of them actually returned and ended up having his first novel out, and which was No Alibis. He launched it there recently. Wow. And you know, and the other one got an agent, and you know, stuff like that. So it's had a really good impact as well. And then of course I think the first time I was on was Big Man.
Yes, of course it was. Yes, which was a brilliant show.
Yeah, well, that was great. So I mean, you know, so I've had a play, and then I did the residency, and then I did this book of short stories now. Well, I had them on the radio first, and then now they've been collected together in this. And now I'm just working on some other stories. I had a big story on an RT radio. And now with the book out, I'm doing a lot of touring around. So I've just come back from London this morning. You know, I'm doing events over there, and now there's lots of brilliant literature festivals that I'm going to visit. I'm going to Cork this month, and then I'm doing the brilliant Cathedral Arts Festival here, and then I'm going to Listowel, and then I'm going to down to Tralee, and then I'm going to Bantry Bay, and then I've got one in Dublin and one in and back in Cork again. I mean, so it's brilliant.
Brilliant. So if people want to get the book, do you have a website available?
Yeah, I mean, you can go on to Salt, is my publisher, Salt Publisher, but No Alibis bookshop in Botanic. They've got some signed copies. They were great. They were at my launch, and get them on there. Yes, I hope you check them out.
Brilliant, Paul. Good to see you as always.
Yeah, you too.
Best of luck for the event.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Now let's turn our attention to this year's Derry Jazz Festival, and one of this year's highlights features singer-songwriter Paul Casey, as you've never seen him before, performing the songs of Chris Rea in a brand new show called Rea-Magined, which is taking place at the Millennium Forum in Derry on the 5th of May. We'll chat to Paul in just a second, but here's a clip from the show.
I can hear a heartbeat, yeah, I can hear a heartbeat, Josephine. I
go. A little clip of what to expect at the Millennium Forum in Derry on the 5th of May. And I'm pleased to say that Paul Casey joins us now. Paul, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. Great to talk to you. Great to see you.
Good to see you. So this is a very exciting project. And when we talk about the music of Chris Rea, you're not doing a Chris Rea tribute show. You're just celebrating the music of the man, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a long story. I grew up listening to Chris Rea, his music through my dad. I got into Chris Rea when I was quite young, about 11. Everybody else was listening to Metallica and Nirvana, and I was walking around school with a Chris Rea folder, and everybody, they used to always say, that's what my dad's under. But I loved his music. I loved the slide guitar. And long story, I met him at a gig in Belfast in the King's Hall. And then a few years later, I met him at a gig in London, and I gave him my demo tape, and he was really cool. And he phoned me up and he loved the demo, and I went over and started working with him. He wrote an album for me. We worked together for many, many years, still to this day. And I toured with him as support. I joined his band. And then I ended up working as a studio engineer in a studio in London as well. So it's been a great, time, but wild at times and great. But I still kind of, when I worked with Chris and when I was in tour with Chris, you still had to kind of pinch yourself a bit, like, because I grew up such a big fan. But yeah, it was good. It was great.
So the first meeting backstage in the King's Hall, that's like 1993. So you must have been very young at the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm no good with numbers, but yeah, I was young. I'm 50 now, so work it out.
And they say sometimes never meet your heroes because you might be disappointed by them. But I would imagine that didn't happen for you.
No, I mean, I got to tour everywhere with Chris, all over Europe. I used to dream about playing in Chris Rea's band, and I did it, and it was great. And it was just a great experience to see the world and do it in his band. And also Chris was very generous with me. He encouraged what I was doing, my music, and he put me on support every night, and it was great time.
Am I right in thinking he's given up the touring life now?
Yeah, Chris is more or less semi-retired now. He's still writing music, and but he's I'm still working on a couple of wee things with him, and it's great. But I always wanted to do a night like this. I always wanted to do a night of Chris's music. And look, it just came about in the last year. I played Glastonbury last year for the first time ever. Came out of nowhere as well. And myself and Liam Bradley, who's the drummer in my band, a great friend of mine, one of my best friends, and he was saying we should do a night of Chris's music. So I spoke to David McLaughlin at the Forum, and he said, yeah, I think the Jazz Festival, it might really suit that. So it all just kind of worked out, and we're doing the Jazz Festival in 4 weeks' time, and we're doing a night of Chris's music, and I'm really looking forward to it, because I don't really look forward to do my own gigs that much, but I'm looking forward to this one.
Well, you must have looked forward to Glastonbury.
Yeah, that was a great weekend. It was great. We had a great crew going over. My wife went over with me, and we just had a great time. It was a brilliant weekend, and they played Glastonbury, and and like I say, that came about through. Do you remember I did the video, the Van Morrison video with Terri Hooley?
Yes, of course. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, well, Paul Charles watched that video when we did it and continued to watch it, up to the point where he just was watching it constantly. And he phoned us up and said, I want you to play Glastonbury. He loved that.
Wow, that's brilliant.
That's how that came about.
Just like that. So, and the Millennium Forum then, for the Rea-Magined show then, are we going to get all the hits right from Full, if you think it's over, right through then?
Oh yeah, all the hits. Stainsby Girls, Road to Hell, On the Beach, I Can Hear Your Heartbeat. Yeah, all the songs that I grew up listening to when I was a kid and loving, and learned how to play. The only reason I play guitar is because of Chris Rea's music. Wow. So I'm relearning all the solos and all the guitar parts that I learned as a kid, but it's all just coming back to me. It's great. I love the guitar playing, so that's going to be no problem at all. I'm a wee bit worried about singing because I don't consider myself a singer, but I'll get there.
If I had to push you for your favorite Chris Rea song, what would it be?
Chisel Hill. It's
really?
From the Shamrock. Yeah, it's from the Shamrock Diaries album, which is my Bible. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's the album I grew up with, and I love Chisel Hill. Great song.
I had never discovered that song until I was doing the Around the World in 80 Days, or Around the World in 80 Songs feature on the radio, and I chose Chisel Hill as one of the locations, and that's how I got
Right.
that song as well. Yeah, it's a very good song.
Oh, it's class. Great album. It's just one of those albums that just, Chris made 3 albums around that time, Shamrock Diaries, Word of the Moon, and On the Beach.
Yeah.
And they're just they're my go-to albums all the time. Like.
Brilliant. So Monday the 5th of May, you're in the Millennium Forum.
Yeah, Monday the 5th, it's the Jazz Festival. It's the last night of the festival. It's the bank holiday Monday. And really looking forward to it. Tickets are doing really well. It should be a great night. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
And for anybody who hasn't been up to the Jazz Festival, Derry really comes alive. I mean, there's music everywhere you turn, isn't there?
There's 2 big events in Derry throughout the year. It's Halloween and the Jazz Festival. And the Jazz Festival is always great. It's always, people come from everywhere. There's music everywhere all day. It's just a great vibe. And hopefully this weather will stick around until then, and it'll be great.
So after the Jazz Festival, then, is there plans to tour this show, or what's the plans?
Well, I never really thought about that to begin with, but yeah, there's a promoter, a UK promoter, really interested now to book some shows down throughout the UK and maybe into Europe, and we'll see. Well, I would love that. I would love to take these songs on the road and do that. So yeah, it's all there to do.
Excellent. I'm going to play the video now of Peace Bridge, which Chris Rea co-wrote that with you, didn't he?
Yeah, I was chatting to him on the phone one day, and he said, I want to send you a song. So Chris is pretty old school. He sent me a CD. I'm in my studio here. I don't even have a CD player in the studio. I had to go out to the car to listen to the song, and it was a beautiful song. And to me, it was a song about me and him. Yeah. And he said that I should record it and I should put it out at Christmas, which I did, and we got a great response from it. It was great.
Brilliant. We're going to play it now. Paul, great to see you, and the best of luck with the gig on the 5th of May.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Robin. Thanks for all your support, man. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Snowstorm blowing across the Peace Bridge tonight. 2 lost souls making their way home. They meet somewhere in the middle. Both sides disappear. Stop and stare each other down deep to the bone. Cigarettes, the other's got a light. They turn away from the freezing wind. Laugh and try until there's a red glow in the night. Stagger round and round in a drunken dream out on the Peace Bridge. Down together and share the cigarette. Try to remember what they tried to forget. Both sides of the Peace Bridge disappear into the snow. Snow drifts freezing over and everything they used to know out on the Peace Bridge. I can't see through all this snow. The other laughs and says, I gotta tell you yet I don't know. But tonight will last forever. The sacred silent night that we should sit together, both sides out of sight. Out on the Peace Bridge, out on the Peace Bridge. 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 Tried to remember what we tried to forget.
Right, time now to meet our final guests in this series of Rob and Elliott tonight. And we're taking a look at some theatre and a show that returns to the Mac this June. It's called Lockdown DLA. You probably remember it from the first time around. But if you don't, we're going to tell you all about it anyway, because Matthew McElhinney, Matthew Forsythe and Stephen Large join us in the studio. Guys, welcome. And has it been 5 years since you guys last did this show?
This show?
Yeah, this show,
5
yeah.
years. We were Vote DLA 2 years ago,
Yeah.
which was whenever we ran for Stormont.
Yes, yeah.
And that was promised. That was the last time. That was the end of it, Stephen. We thought.
I mean, we cried and all.
But you
know,
know,
in George's arms. This is the last.
But you know, when you've got a cash cow like this, you keep bringing it back.
That's always why. Stephen, remind us the idea behind it. How did all this come about?
By 2015, our evil overlords at Lisburn annexed Castlereagh City Council. So we decided to come up with this fake freedom fighting organisation that would liberate Donnelly from their Lisburn overlords. It was a Facebook page, then it was a book, then it was on stage, and now I've had to spend the last 10 years with these two idiots. Yeah.
Now, when the Facebook page first went up, people quite didn't know what to make of it, did they? They didn't realise, is this real or is this a joke? What, did they?
Yeah, initially it did pique interest. People couldn't really decipher because it was satirical. But the more ridiculous that some of the posts and stories it became quickly apparent. You know, I always go back to one of the ones that went viral, which was the McCollum incident, which she had done an interview and her signature bun haircut was gone and she had her hair blonde, a bit like mine actually. And the next day, no one was talking about her evading all these questions, it was just about her haircut. So I put up this fake post saying that the Peruvian police were looking for her missing bun haircut. And then the Peruvian police actually contacted the Facebook page. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. And they said, no, we're not. Which is, yeah. But worse than that, so I'm actually, I'm sitting eating lunch, and the next thing, my phone goes, and it's BBC World News, and they're saying we are waiting on our Spanish translator coming back from his lunch, because we want to contact the Peruvian police in Lima to verify whether or not this is them. Have you any objections to this? And I said, well, if I do, are you not going to do it? And they went, no. I went, go ahead then. And so they made contact. They waited on this guy coming back from his lunch, made contact with the Peruvian police, and they said, yes, it was them. They do a regular search to see if they're mentioned, and they stumbled across this comment, and the next thing, it was in BBC World News. It was in the Sun newspaper. They actually you know, what was it, Peru done it, and it was just out. It was people were ringing me from.
Do you think we'll transfer this to Peru then?
That's the next one. You're in but you're going to be method acting. I'm going to send you to jail in Lima to prepare for this role. Yeah.
So the next step is the play, which comes along. I mean, we meet these two characters that you guys have to say are hilarious on stage doing them. But Stephen, were these based on real people? Were these based on people you know, or?
Yeah, but you know, I've always said that the DLA have the ideals of, you know, the more Republican movement, but in terms of the characters, they're sort of like the circa 2000 darlings of the Sunday tabloids, you know, but also a few people I know, but for my own preservation of life, I'll probably keep that to myself.
Yeah. No comment.
But yeah, they're just idiots, aren't they?
Yeah, completely.
And when you guys are on stage, I mean, you look like you're having a great time. I mean, there's bits when you find it hard to hold it together at certain parts of the show, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think we're playing with it while we're on stage. A lot of it we're still playing and enjoying it and finding moments, because it is we're that, so all three of us are so connected with it that we find things as we're going.
Yeah.
And then things just trigger.
Yeah.
And it's very, very hard to keep a straight face.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a joy to do, because it's a type of show that you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. And actually, when things do go wrong, that's when it's the funniest.
Yeah.
Because whenever we crack, the audience crack at us cracking. And there's times where you just have to sit and face the back wall and your shoulders are shaking. So it's a joy in that sense, yeah.
Another one of those ones was the dog. Do you remember the dog?
Oh, we had when we had a service dog in?
Yeah, there was a blind lady had brought her dog in with her, but one of the characters had a barking track.
Right.
So when the barking track went off, this is when you knew this character was going to come in, but when the barking track started, the dog, the guide dog kicked off, and they ended up having to like drag this blind lady and her Labrador out of
things that have happened at the shows is fire alarms, dogs.
The kitchen went on fire in the waterfront.
So they can't wait to see what the next thing. So one night the electric went. Do you not pay up, Bill?
So they're coming first, Davey. They're coming first. Turn the power off.
Davey took the magnet off the meter.
It's the type of thing. It's the type of show. Whenever something goes wrong,
you just enjoy it.
You relish it.
You relish it, and you sort of
And also having to look at his face.
And having to look at your face. I mean, this guy has a handlebar mustache. Yeah. And he says he hates it.
Yeah.
And he has the gold highlight hair, the tattoo, the roll-up tattoo sleeves, the jewellery, which by may I add,
2 gallons of bronzer.
I have to, before the stage, we go on stage, I have to put all his jewellery on for him.
Really?
In character.
Oh yeah. Well, I will come off. I will come off bedecked in jewellery and go, horse, do me. This is our ritual in the dressing room after every show. So Matt would have to take off all my jewellery.
Or put it on, depending on where
Leave the bronzer. The bronzer's fine.
Oh, brilliant. Well, guys, it sounds like it's going to be another great run for you. When you start then?
The 25th of June.
25th of June.
It's running until the 29th.
Yeah. Brilliant. We look forward to that.
25th to 29th of June, Mac Theatre. Get your tickets at the McElhinney.com.
Exactly. They're rushing to do that now. Guys, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers. Brilliant.
So that's nearly all we have time for on the show this week. Nearly all we have time for this series as well. I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's watched this programme over the past 21 years. We will be back. We're not going away. You know, we will be back with a brand new series on a different platform and a different TV channel sometime very soon. So in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with some highlights looking back at the 21 years of Rob and Elliott Tonight. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. So welcome along to my brand new TV show here on NVTV. Over the next few weeks, we're going to have many glittering celebrities joining us here in the studio. Also lots of great live music and some local bands as well.
Boom, boom, hey! Sorry, just feeling a little peckish. Imagine when the sword comes down on my shoulder. Yeah, it'd probably top my arm off, wouldn't it? Like to do a bit of hip hop because my gran had a hip hop.
So over the years, I've had the pleasure of interviewing loads of the world's biggest superstars. Today, I'm here in the waterfront, and I have to say I'm very excited about this because I've been joined by a true television legend.
Where?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Basil Brush.
Hey! Hello, Mr. Robin.
Hello, Mr. Basil.
Do you ever get mistaken for the tax man with a name like that?
No, I
Robin.
don't. Boom, boom. So anyway, Basil, welcome to Belfast. Have you been here before?
Never. You know, it was a very difficult journey for me this morning, you know. You know all that security they have nowadays?
Yes.
Yeah, they want to give me inoculations, and I had to go through this thing where I thought, I'm with other animals in here. They wanted to put me in a hold. It's 20 days incubation. I thought it was going to be. It's not incubation, is it?
No, well, as long as they didn't put the rubber gloves on.
Oh, that's what they tried that. So I snuck in somebody's hand luggage and got away with it.
Good for you, good for you. So what about travelling when you're on tour and stuff? Are you a demanding diva?
Yes.
Yeah?
Diva. Yeah, it's just the number of jelly babies that they have to leave me in the dressing rooms. Approximately 10,000. I do travel with an entourage.
Right.
And sometimes an uncle-tourage.
Now, what about the bands like the Undertones, the bands like that you looked after? Were you in charge of styling them as well as looking after the music side of things?
Have you ever seen them on Top of the Pops with Fergal with his polo neck jumper? No. There was no style whatsoever there with the Parker jackets and all. In fact, I'll tell you a great story is that when the Undertones first went to do Top of the Pops and Boy George and all were on, or whatever, and all the bands wanted to go to these fancy restaurants for dinner, the Undertones wanted to go to McDonald's because there wasn't a McDonald's in Derry. So that was their big treat, was to go to McDonald's.
And it became the top panto all over the United Kingdom.
Brilliant.
For 14 years, I did it straight, and I loved every moment of it. We did it in Hull the first year, and the next year it went in the West End.
Yeah.
And we were in the Phoenix Theatre. And you know the bit with the apple?
Yes.
You know, in the Wicked Witch, she's saying, take a bite. So you say to the, will I? And all the kids go, no. Well, over the top of everybody else from one of the boxes was a little shrill voice saying, may I speak? May I speak? And all the kids are going, no. So I take the bite and I fall down, and this little voice from the stall goes, you stupid bitch. I told you not to eat it.
Hi, I'm David Cassidy, and of course I'm here at the Odyssey Arena in Belfast with Robin. As you can see, I'm doing time for many crimes that I've committed over the years. The first one being, I've never performed in Ireland until tonight. So to all of you, please forgive me. My Irish ancestors, please forgive me.
We need a plan to feed us, a helping hand to guide us. When we understand how to work the land, we will do it for ourselves. It's not enough to say I love you anyway. There is a price to pay for love.
Well, I'd have to do all kinds of everything.
Of course, you'll never get away from that song, will you?
No, because all kinds of everything do remind me of you.
Oh, what lovely words from a lovely lady. Dana, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. Now, before the success in music came along, you were a hairdresser for a very short time, weren't you?
Mention this, Robin. Yes, when I left school quite early because I wasn't the best brain in my box. I wasn't brainy at all, and I got hit a lot by the nuns when I was a youngster, you know, and I was always scaredy. I was very sort of a nervous child at school, and it wasn't all sinking in, you know. And so I left school early, and then I didn't want to become a hairdresser, but, you know, when you're 14, 15, what else do you do?
Yes.
So anyway, I kept at it for a couple of years, and then it was Pensioners' Day one day, and this wee woman came in, and they all want their hair as short as they can get it, so that it'd be a wee while before they'd come back again, you know, because they didn't have the monies, you know. That's why there was a special pensioners' day. But this wee woman had a very short neck and flabba-lob earlobes. And and it was my first time doing, the owner went away on holiday and she thought, I suppose I was going to be okay with the pensioners. They, you know, they'll be all right with me. And anyway, had the towel round her, and it was a curly perm, and she wanted it dead straight coming down at the back of her neck, but she had a short neck, you see. So I was trying to get as short as I can, and I cut a piece of her ear off. And she didn't notice it at first until the blood was going on the white towel. If it had been a dark towel, she might not have noticed. And there was a bit of it hanging off.
My God.
And anyway, she ran, well, she didn't run down the stairs, but she went speedily down the stairs because she was quite old. And there's so many things happened to me. I felt so sorry for her, but she didn't stay around enough for me to be sorry.
Yes.
And then another time a woman took an epileptic fit underneath the hairdryer.
Right.
And see, it was right in the middle of Newry Hill Street.
Yeah.
And everybody used to stand and, you know, when they see the ambulance, you know, so it was all around the town that I electrocuted the woman. That was more or less what they were saying, you know. I don't know whether an ambulance was so far back. But anyway, I did 3 years until I had to do the exams, and I thought, I'm doing no exams.
Yeah.
It'll feel like going back to school again. And that's, I knew I used to bring my accordion in and play, and you know, in those days, it was old-fashioned hairdryers that made a lot of noise. So
Yes.
I'd bring my guitar in and the accordion, and women would be reading their magazines underneath the hairdryer, and the noise of it, and I'm going, singing a wee song and everything, and they're going, that's lovely, that's lovely. So I was a frustrated singer, and then I just knew that that's what I wanted to do from a very, very early age.
Like, I'll go be truthful, I've made music and gone, I do not like that.
Which Boyzone song did you really hate?
No matter what.
We'll find our own way back.
Really?
Yeah. You know, the biggest Boyzone record ever is No Matter What. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But only because it's, I don't know, I just, that song does my head in. And amazingly enough, it's such a magical song for so many other people. Lyrically, I know it means a lot to a lot of people, but for me, in the band, I hate that song. You still do. Every time we play it on stage, and I'm very open about that. I like being open and honest about things. I don't know how to dance to it. I don't know how to move. I don't really know what to do in that song. It's just a weird song on stage, and I'm like, man, is this already? So yeah.
I would stand for hours. I've walked through some showers with my dancing shoes and my dreams and views. I'd walk upon an empty stage with one light on my face, to be told, don't phone us, but we'll phone you. Tell me so, yeah, just how far I need to go to be a star, to be a star. Every day the same old scene, the same old happenings, 100 miles of shores, and yet no place to go. But when your luck is all you're asked to take a bow. You've just stolen the show, but now you're on your...
I'm Leslie Grantham, and you're watching Robin's show on MVTV. Watch it or else.
Easily my best band to work with was Westlife, because they sold 45 million records.
Yeah.
They were easy to work with. They got on. They were friends before they became famous,
yeah,
and they're still friends, you know. And of all the bands, they were great. Boyzone was great to start with. Girls Aloud was a little bit of a nightmare, you know, because I inherited them from the show.
Of course.
But they made great records, you know. Shane Ward was the one person that got away that should have been much, much bigger. Right. He's the one person, you know. But you know, I still love the business. Yeah. I'm still enthusiastic.
Album's doing great. Yeah, it's called This Time, and it's quite soft. You know, for me, it's a much softer sound. You know, my last album was quite rocky, but this one I wanted to do a more romantic album. There's some more acoustic sounding songs, and there's some bigger songs. And Carolina's more up tempo, so it's still got some great dynamic.
All right.
But it's definitely more gentle than Melanie C of 2 years ago.
What's the reason for that? Is it because you're getting a little bit older?
Well, it's just how I'm feeling at this point in my life, really. I really enjoy expressing myself in different ways, and this is me at the moment, a bit soft, a bit more feminine, but I'm sure I'll rock again.
All right, okay. And of course, you've got your own record label as well, so does that mean you have total control over everything that you do now?
Absolutely. I think I've been very lucky throughout my career. You know, I've always been able to do whatever I like, but now I work with a much smaller team of people, and sometimes you can get, you know, outside influences can make you feel a little bit unsure about your own instincts, but now there's none of that goes on. Any mistakes that I made are my own. Can't blame anybody else.
So how many years have you been in the show for?
It's just 28 years.
28 years.
So
now, you were in 1988.
That's right.
You did play a different character, didn't you?
That's right. So I played Greg Cooper for 3 weeks. So if we thought about that, we added that time in, forgot about the time I was out of the show. You could say I was there for a lot longer. Yeah, a 3-week little role. I loved it. I played a mechanic.
Yeah.
Got to work with Kylie and a few others, and all my mates too. Stephen Dennis was there, and Alan Dale. It was just a lovely time. But I was doing theatre at the time.
Yeah.
And they did actually say to me, would you do Greg Cooper, would you play that character for a year?
Right.
And I said, no, look, I'm doing Shakespeare, I'll forget about that. Imagine if I'd done it though, because Neighbours was so popular then. I might have done a year on Neighbours then, and I would have been a pop star.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Of course, as everybody did back in 1988, didn't
Yes,
they?
yeah.
When Dr. Carl came into the show, it was only a year contract as well, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. They're all year contracts. It's funny that I've had 28 one-year contracts.
And what would you say is the greatest Dr. Carl moment then? What's the big standout one that you'll always remember?
I have to say to you, because I love doing the comedy, right?
Yeah.
So obviously all the big dramas are amazing, all the affairs and everything. Episode 7000, Robin, my favourite episode ever. Carl Kennedy finds a scratch-it ticket that hasn't been scratched. He looks at it, it's worth $7,000. This is a man who loves money, right? He's very excited, but he loses the ticket.
Yeah.
So he has to traipse all around Erinsborough, retracing his steps to try and find it. When he gets to Toadie's house, Toadie's having a naturalist lunch. Everyone's nude inside. So Carl has to nude up to go in and find his ticket, which he does find stuck to Toadie's backside. It's high drama, dramatic comedy. It's very funny. Still remains my favourite episode.
Summer in Dublin was a day in the life, really. It actually happened, every piece of it.
Oh, wow.
Including the drunk on the bus and everything. It just actually happened to me in one day in Dublin.
Brilliant. He didn't listen to me, by the way.
I'll tell you how to get rich. The scariest story about that is that it was, I wrote it in a notebook and dumped it into a cardboard box because I was moving apartments at flats at the time. And I found it 2 years later in a box and put music to it then. Oh, wow. So it almost wasn't a song ever. So
We've only found this out recently when Liam explained that it almost didn't get born somewhere in Dublin. I mean, it was really, when he explained when he was moving, you know, when you're moving flat and all that, how easy it is to lose stuff. I mean, it could have been just gone for it. There was no music to it. He only had the lyrics.
Yeah.
It's only when he refound it, he put the music to it.
So that's the way it is. Thank God for cardboard boxes.
Mistrust and fill my heart with dread. When did the boy become a man and lose his life to learn? So much confusion to this plan. These times are not changing. Show me the love to keep us together. Open up your hearts, don't turn me away. Comfort me through this stormy weather from where I stand. And I see a broken land.
Do you ever miss the Dr. Hook days?
They were so long ago, you know, it's like truly asking me like if I miss my school friends. It's really a long time ago. It was cool, it was great, man. You know, I was like 19 or 20 and I was on the road and we were successful and, you know, and I was with, at that point, all my great friends, because we were a bar band. Hook was a bar band, and even when we were playing major concerts, we were a bar band in concert. You know, and it was fun to do it that way. But I tell you what I don't miss is being on the road 300 days a year.
It must have nearly killed you.
Well, you know, I was a young guy, so it didn't really matter that way particularly, but I had a son who's, you know, and I never saw him. And now people send films, you know, you do videos. People don't even tour until they're wildly famous. Yeah. And nobody would have known who the hell we were if we weren't just on the road. And also going for international success. So you know, by the time you get this side of the road, they go, I have to go back. And we were just constantly busy. But I guess, you know, in some ways it was good, but I wouldn't want to do that now. Yeah. You know, when I first went on the road, I was 19. I took everything I had, which was nothing. Now when I go on the road, I look at things I want to take off the wall. I want to take all my books. I have too many things now because I'm older.
So I'm going to take you back to the events of 1975. Still to this day, Des, it's something you have to live with on a daily basis, isn't it?
Oh yes, it's, look, Robin, I wake up with it every morning. I've got photographs of the lads in my lounge, in my bedroom. So I live with it 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day. You know, it's something that I have to live with. Very painful at times, especially when we come close to the anniversary and things like that. Fran's birthday, Brian, Tony's birthdays, all those sorts of things, it all brings it back to me. So it's very, very painful.
How important is Gary Moore as a musician to Belfast?
Incredibly important. He was a child prodigy, you know. I met him in Hollywood, Northern Ireland. Yeah. And he was about 11 years of age, and I think his father ran the gig, this little wooden hall in Hollywood. And I was with a little band from Belfast called the Deltones then. And we arrived at the gig, and I heard this guitar playing, and walked in, and he was up on stage. Like, he had a little band, I think they were called the Beat Boys. And I watched him for a while before we went on, and I remember watching him doing Help by the Beatles. And I said, I wonder, can he get that little doodle-dee, doodle-dee,
yes, yeah.
And he did, he got it perfect. And I went, God almighty, wow.
Now, have you had any really crazy holiday disasters?
Well, I don't know if I could say this. It was, again, very embarrassing. I don't know if I should say this, but it's the first thing. We know each other now.
Yes.
I was swimming quite far out. I'd come about 100 meters away from the shore, and I was desperate for the toilet, and I didn't know what to do, and I had to just do it there. And I literally just pulled down my. It was a number 2, which came out as a perfect log, and as I swam back, the log followed me all the way back to the shore, and the whole of the beach was laughing. Because as the faster I went, the faster I think there was a current, and it followed me all the way back. And I remember shouting, "Who did that?" And it was a full beach, and they all knew me and they recognized me, because that was you dirty so-and-so. It's a pretty bad thing. I don't even know why I've shared that, but it's a true story.
Lots of things have happened, like, do you remember the time when the Sunday World's big Jim McDowell got a death threat in the middle of our interview? Do you remember this? Police message, another death threat, I believe.
Yeah, well, what the police do whenever they understand that paramilitaries, or as we call them now, the paramafia, we don't call them paramilitaries because they've morphed into criminal gangs. They always were into protection rackets, extortion and all the rest. And whenever the police get intelligence that you're going to be a target again, that somebody wants to shoot you dead, do harm to you, do damage to you, they come to your house and they get you to sign a piece of paper like this. Now, the funny thing about this was when the policeman came into my home and it said, intelligence suggests unknown persons have been discussing Jim McDowell and premises he might frequent at lunchtime in Belfast. Now, they mentioned a pub, but I had to laugh because the pub they actually mentioned, usually I'm out of it before lunchtime in Belfast.
And of course, there was broadcasting legend Gerry Anderson as well, who told us about the time when he became the most hated man in the UK.
I can say is, I'm friends with, at one time, the most hated man
in the UK.
Me?
And that was you. Because you did end up with that title at one stage, didn't you?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's kind of, I did. I was the Guardian, actually. I was dubbed the most hated man in Britain. And the reason I mentioned that was because I remember saying to somebody at the time, I must give the Yorkshire Ripper a call and say, hey, new kid on the block, No, but that was just ridiculous.
And that, of course, was the time you went across to London,
Radio 4, yeah.
Radio 4, and, it must have been a horrendous time, really, for you.
Yeah, but see, that was my own fault, really, because I was cocky, See, I didn't come into this kind of radio or television thing until it's very late. I mean, I didn't walk into a radio studio until I was over 40, I mean, I was doing other things, not very good things, but I was doing other things. But consequently, in some ways, I'd had a life. You see, and a lot of people go on the radio and they don't know how to talk about it because they have never done anything. So I kind of all kinds of stuff to talk about.
And then, of course, we can't forget the time when all of the big show viewers turned out at Belfast's City Hall. Biggest show in Belfast, the biggest show on NVTV. This is Robin's Big Show!
Là où The Reborn est très spécial, c'est que la plupart des musiciens, quand ils proposent un projet sur scène, ils veulent montrer ce qu'ils savent faire. Et moi, avec Reborn, bizarrement, je vais montrer ce que je ne sais pas encore faire. C'est un projet laboratoire qui me permet de mettre à plat toutes mes influences, mes parcours et de tester des choses. J'avais envie donc de créer un projet qui raconte un peu tout mon parcours musical.